From translation, Net New English Translation. This 23rd day of the year. Today we are reading passages Exodus 16 to 18. Exodus chapter 16, verses 1 to 36. The entire Israelite community set out from Elim and came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they had departed from the land of Egypt. The entire Israelite community complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in the land of Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the bread we wanted, but you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death." Then the Lord said to Moses, "I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. In this way I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. On the 6th day they are to prepare what they bring in, and it will be twice as much as they gather on the other days." So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, "In the evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your complaints against him. For what is our complaint against them? Your complaints are not against us, but against the Lord." Then Moses said, "The Lord will give you meat to eat in the evening and all the bread you want in the morning, because he has heard the complaints of you, which you are raising against him. As for us, what are we? Your complaints are not against us, but against the Lord." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Say to the entire community of Israelites, 'Stand before the Lord, for he has heard your complaints.'" As Aaron spoke to the entire community of Israelites, they looked toward the wilderness, and the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. The Lord said to Moses, "I have heard the complaints of the Israelites. Tell them, at twilight you will eat meat, and in the morning you will be filled with bread. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God." That evening quail came up and covered the camp, and in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the dew that was on the desert floor evaporated, there on the surface of the wilderness was a thin flaky substance, as fine as frost on the ground. When the Israelites saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. Moses said to them, "It is the bread the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Each one of them is to gather as much as he can eat. You are to take an omer apiece, according to the number of people who each have in their tent." The Israelites did just as they were told. Some gathered much, some little. When they measured it with an omer, the one who gathered much did not have too much, and the one who gathered little did not have too little. Each one had gathered just what he needed. Moses said to them, "No one is to keep any of it until morning." But they did not listen to Moses. Some kept part of it until morning, and it became full of worms and smelled bad. So Moses was angry with them. Each morning they gathered it, every man according to what he could eat. And when the sun got hot, it melted. On the 6th day they gathered twice as much food, 2 omers per person. Then the leaders of the community came and reported this to Moses. He said to them, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is to be a day of rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. So bake what you want to bake and boil what you want to boil. Whatever is left over put aside for yourselves to be kept until morning." So they put it away until morning, as Moses commanded, and it did not smell nor were there any worms in it. Moses said, "Eat it today, because today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. For 6 days you will gather it, but on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will be none." On the 7th day some of the people went out to gather it, but they found none. Then the Lord said to Moses, "How long will you refuse to obey my commands and instructions? Bear in mind that the Lord has given you the Sabbath. That is why on the 6th day he gives you bread for 2 days. Everyone is to stay where he is on the 7th day, no one is to go out." So the people rested on the 7th day. The Israelites called the bread manna. It was like coriander seed and looked like pearl. Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Fill an omer with manna and keep it for generations to come, so that they may see the food I gave you to eat in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt." So Moses said to Aaron, "Take a jar and put an omer of manna in it. Then place it before the Lord to be kept for generations to come." As the Lord commanded him, Aaron placed it before the testimony to be kept. The Israelites ate the manna for 40 years, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate the manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Exodus chapter 17, verses 1 to 25. The whole Israelite community set out from the wilderness of Sin, traveling from place to place, as the Lord commanded. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. So the people contended with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." Moses said to them, "Why do you contend with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people were very thirsty for water there, and they complained against Moses and said, "Why in the world did you bring us up from Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried out to the Lord, "What should I do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me. The Lord said to Moses, Go on ahead of the people and take with you the elders of Israel. Take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile and go. I will be standing there in front of you on the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it, so that the people may drink. Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. He called the place Massah and Meribah because the Israelites contended there, and because they tested the Lord, saying, Is the Lord among us or not? Then the Amalekites came and attacked Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, Choose some men for us and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. So Joshua fought with Amalek just as Moses had ordered him. Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, but whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands grew tired, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on each side, so that his hands remained steady until the sun went down. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, Write this on a scroll as a memorial and recite it to Joshua. I will completely blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Moses built an altar and called it The Lord is my banner. He said, For a hand was against the throne of the Lord, so the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Now Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard all that God had done for Moses and for his people Israel, how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness where he was camping at the mountain of God. He said to Moses, I, your father-in-law Jethro, have come to you, along with your wife and her 2 sons with her. Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him. And they each asked about the other's well-being, and then they went to the tent. Moses told his father-in-law everything that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardship that had come upon them on the way, and how the Lord had delivered them. Jethro rejoiced because of all the good that the Lord had done for Israel, whom he had delivered from the hand of the Egyptians. Jethro said, Blessed be the Lord who has delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians, and from the hand of Pharaoh, who has delivered the people from the oppressive hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods, for he did this to those who treated Israel arrogantly. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God, and Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law before God. Exodus chapter 18, verses 1 to 27. Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard about all that God had done for Moses and for his people Israel, how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. Now Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, had taken Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her away, and her 2 sons. The name of one was Gershom, for Moses said, I have been a foreigner in a foreign land, and the name of the other was Eleazar, for he said, The God of my father was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness where he was camping at the mountain of God. He said to Moses, I, your father-in-law Jethro, have come to you, along with your wife and her 2 sons with her. Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him, and they each asked about the other's well-being, and then they went to the tent. Moses told his father-in-law everything that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardship that had come upon them on the way, and how the Lord had delivered them. Jethro rejoiced because of all the good that the Lord had done for Israel, whom he had delivered from the hand of the Egyptians. Jethro said, Blessed be the Lord who has delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians, and from the hand of Pharaoh, who has delivered the people from the oppressive hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods, for he did this to those who treated Israel arrogantly. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God, and Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law before God. The next day Moses sat down to judge the people, and the people stood around Moses from morning until evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit alone as judge, while all the people stand around you from morning until evening? Moses replied to his father-in-law, Because the people come to me to seek God's will. When they have a dispute, they come to me and I decide between one person and another, and I make known the statutes and instructions of God. Moses' father-in-law said to him, What you are doing is not good. You surely will wear yourself out, both you and these people who are with you, for the task is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it by yourself. Now listen to me. I will give you some advice, and God be with you. You must be the people's representative before God and bring their cases to God. You must teach them the statutes and instructions, and show them the way they are to go, and the things they must do. But choose from all the people capable men, God-fearing men, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain. Appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They will judge the people at all times. The difficult cases they will bring to you, but the simple cases they can judge themselves. So it will be easier for you, and they will share the load with you. If you do this, and God so commands, then you will be able to endure, and all these people will be able to go home satisfied. Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. Moses chose capable men from all Israel and made them heads over the people, as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They judged the people at all times. The difficult cases they would bring to Moses, but the simple cases they would judge themselves. Then Moses sent his father-in-law on his way, and Jethro returned to his own land.